Hi guys, this is Karma Trader. I hope you guys are doing okay. Give me 1 second. Okay, so the delay is like 30 seconds. Okay, so the delay is like 30 seconds. Hey guys, so today we have Nasdaq here with a really big bounce from this spot here, which was the opening of the range today. Also, we have these two ranges here. That's the Asian range. I work using the Asian range. And so, as you can see here, guys, we didn't sweep the liquidity on the Asian range. That's a reason why we made this really big bounce to the buy side today. I don't know if it is gonna stop now or like the 11:30, because we still have some liquidity down here. We still have the gap that we haven't filled yet, so we can leave it there for today, which for me wouldn't be a very great idea for the market to do that, but it can happen. So let me see something here. So we don't have news today, as you can see, so we don't have to worry about that. All that we have to worry about is a drop. So now we're like leaving spaces. You see this here, this is called a void, okay, a void imbalance. So this kind of voids will need to be filled in the market. Also, we made here a gap, a CB, sell side imbalance, a buy side inefficiency, a BC, sorry, buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. So we didn't respect this fair value gap. I still think we can come back and retake it due to the we are leaving voids, liquidity voids inside or between the candles, right? So this range that I have marked here was like a level that we were taking too much time to break. As you can see, we couldn't break it. We touch it, we cross it, we reverse. We went inside it, we reverse. We went inside it, we reverse, until we had this big drop where everyone thought that we were going to continue going lower, since we break through many levels that were like key levels, but we are aiming for higher highs, all-time highs again, okay? So that's the reason why I don't think we're going to stop now going higher. The day is still long, so we don't know what could happen. We could have like a reversal here. We just swept this liquidity that we have in here and the liquidity that we had in here, so it would be pretty obvious for the market to just continue going higher. But as I said, it is very common that we tend to go for a lower liquidity. So the liquidity that we have in here matches with the mid gap of the day. The consequent encouragement of the gap matches with this liquidity. You would say, like, what's important with that liquidity? Well, 7:45 a.m. liquidity, it's a very nice target that we always need to be pending on, okay? Why? Because the market usually tends to go there Here I'm going to take a trade. I think I'm going to take a trade here. I'm going to be putting my stop loss just above here, guys. Why? Because we just made a lower low after we made this higher high. Okay, so this is a pretty risky move, because as you can see, we just came down here to take a liquidity from the void, right? So this could mean that we could continue going higher, right? As I said, I don't think the movement higher has already ended, so that's the reason why I stand for business to the upside. But since we have to go for lower liquidity, and this is a key hour to go for, like 10:30, 10:20 is a key hour. We haven't made like any clear fair value gap yet. Yes, we made this noise here, but we also made a fair value gap in here. So that's why I decided to go for a short. Okay, so if we lose here, that's fine. I won't rush to take a trade to the buy side after I get swept, because we could this time, as I said, this is a very key time. We could like sweep this and immediately reverse at least to these levels here, because here there is liquidity, as you can see, that is remaining, that hasn't been taken out yet. So this liquidity here needs to be taken. You would say like, okay, this week sweep that liquidity. No, I didn't. This is liquidity as well, but this liquidity is some kind of you can call it noise, right? So a second time we come back to this void and we reverse off of it, so it could be very probably that we get a stop out in here just because of what the market is doing, and that I think the movement hasn't ended yet. Usually if we have fast movements or trends, if you want to call it, it takes until 10 a.m. to be done, 10:30 to be done. But sometimes, and it could be today, it goes up until 11 a.m. So we could still have 30 minutes of a movement higher yet to go. So that could be very bad for us in this trade. Okay, so yeah, we'll just wait to see what happens. If we get stopped out, that's fine, that's part of the job. Okay, so let's wait. Here we should have a run through all of these levels, like we should have a run through all of these levels until this liquidity. You would say like, oh, that's too far. Well, in days like this, the market can move 200 points, 100 points, like it is 10 points. So that's going to be like a reversal, a normal reversal for the market when the algorithm is doing its thing. Okay, just like it happened here, guys. Just look at this. You think a movement of 500 points can just reverse in one day, in some hours? It can. Just look, it happened. In one day, it just dropped 500 points. 500. And then we reversed not only 500, but almost 700 points. Okay? So it can happen. We can have like that reversal, which for me it's very probably to happen. But since we just break levels that we couldn't break for like a week or a little bit more, we could maybe try to stay here and leave those levels intact for later. Maybe it could be next week or after 2 weeks. Okay, so right now here we are still hesitating, playing games. We touched this void for the 4th time already, and we keep making lower highs, as you can see. But don't trust that. We can just come and sweep all of these little highs or lower highs that it has been making. Okay, so I usually don't like to put take profit, because I like just to go with the flow of the market. If I see the market is reversing too much, or is not going where I want the market to go, I just click close and I close my trade, and that's it. Okay, so right now I at least want the market to touch this inversion fair value gap. It would be very nice for the market to do. We already have 20 points in the back, so I'm going to be lowering my stop loss because I don't want games. Okay, so why did I reverse my trade to there? Oh shit, I put the wrong thing, guys. Holy shit. Well, I think I'm closing it here because I fucked up. Okay, that's great. I'm going to be closing this. I think it's going to be a little bit lower, but I think I'm closing it, guys. Why I'm closing it? Because I put the wrong thing. It was a buy stop and I put a sell limit, so I got another order, and this is more than I usually trade. Okay, I usually trade just 5 contracts, 5 minis, 5 micros, sorry. So just because it goes out of my trading plan, that's why I decided to close it. It was a confusion, guys, so I'm really sorry for that. Okay, guys, it's fine. This is my first time live stream. I know nobody is listening to me yet, but you know, it's fine. So anyways, as I was saying, this could be a very nice moment for the market to drop, since we failed to go lower. Here, I don't have now that much expectation for the market to continue dropping from here, and I still expect a movement higher. Okay, this could be the reversal that I'm expecting for today, but at the same time it's not giving me enough a confirmation for it to happen. Okay, good, we break this low, so that means we can continue going lower, but I already got out of the trade, so because of that I will just wait a little bit. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, as you see, we just record this fair value gap in here. That's very great. We have at least to come for this liquidity, so yeah, we will need to wait. This that happened here, okay, so as you can see here, guys, these weeks here, where this week opened, that's a confirmation for the market that we failed to go lower, as you can see in here. Yes, we broke those levels. Yes, we swept through this fair value gap, but for the market, this week, and this week, these 2 weeks, they don't matter. Why? Because in the important weeks we failed to go lower. We failed to sweep the liquidity down here. If with this week, with this candle and this candle, we swept this liquidity, at least it would have been for me a better confirmation that we wanted to go lower. That's why I didn't rush it, and I didn't want to enter in this trade, even though the candles, sorry guys, even though the candles are having a big movement, because as you can see here, this candle just moved 84 and 70, 14 points in one candle. That's a lot. with 40 points, guys, you can do a lot of things. Okay, so as I was saying, you see these wicks here, they failed to go lower. Yes, we swept the liquidity here and we went through this fair value gap. It wasn't enough. Another failed displacement to continue going lower for this liquidity, and we reversed. And we didn't only reverse, we also closed above this candle, which this candle is a very important candle because it was the first displacement movement after the first failed move to the downside. So here we should try to continue going higher. We just made a void here, that's fine. We will need to wait because, as I said, we can keep this movement until 11 a.m., 11:05, 11:15. Around that time we can make another higher high, and that could be for the morning session, and then we can have our expected reversal after that time, and at least come for this liquidity that we are trying to get to it, but we are failing to do so. Also, we have fair value gap in here inside a very important level that we kept getting rejected and rejected every single time we were inside of it. Okay, so also we have the liquidity at the opening that hasn't been taken. It needs to be taken. Also, we have this great liquidity at 7:45 a.m. Let me see something in here, because sometimes, look at this, in the 15 minutes it shows that we didn't sweep this liquidity. Okay, so let me see the low of this. The low is 439.25, and the low of this is the same low. Okay, so we barely touch it and we immediately reverse. 7:45 a.m. liquidity, guys, is a very important liquidity, and the market tends to play around that liquidity. Okay, so look, here could be a very nice moment to enter in the trade, but as I said, this could still go until 11 a.m. Okay, so since it could go until 11 a.m., I'm still expecting that the market treat this as the current level. Okay, what do I mean by that? That I expect the market to move until 11 a.m. around this small consolidation in here. Okay, why? Because many times after the market has these big movements, it has to stop somewhere. Once it stops, it needs to create a new new levels, a new range. It needs to create a new range for the market. So this is what the market is doing. That's why I don't believe that we will immediately sweep all of that liquidity to the downside. It could happen, yes. If it happens, we lost that movement because it is hesitating a lot. But right now we are changing the momentum of the market, right? Last week, or I mean this week, we have all of these were noises, you know. This is where just noise, because in this movement that we have in here, guys, this movement should have been the movement that we're going to take us to higher highs, but it didn't happen. So you see how we just stayed inside that range. This is a consolidation, guys, a big consolidation. We didn't break higher, we didn't break lower until this day. We break lower. But something, guys, that you need to keep in mind is that every consolidation has a fake movement to either of the two sides. Usually it is the first movement that it does to either of the two sides, just like it did here to the downside. So in this big consolidation that we had, this was the fake breakout. Just here, this was the fake breakout. From this point to here was the fake breakout. Then we got inside of the consolidation again. We didn't break the midpoint. You see, we touched it, we didn't break the midpoint, and then now we are breaking to the buy side. Now we will need to do a consolidation and a reversal so we can grab more liquidity and we can continue going higher, right? Because remember, going higher takes a little bit longer. So right now, as I said, this is a single liquidity, right? This is not like 3 lows. No, this is, just count this as one liquidity. This is one liquidity, and now we are leaving the second liquidity inside the new range that the market is creating. Okay, so for me, if we plan to stay in this range and continue going way higher, we will not break this range yet. And if we break it, we will not go lower than this key level that we had in here. Okay, why? Because if that happens, that will mean we will still play games to go to the buy side, and we will need to go to the buy side. So this is something that ICT calls the first stage of consolidation, right? Sorry, the first stage of accumulation. So in this big range, in the way to go higher, this is the first stage of accumulation. So this means we will continue going higher, but for that we will need to respect this level in the market, this range. Okay, and we shouldn't be breaking that liquidity. Okay, so let's wait. As I said, I'm still expecting a reversal to the downside, don't get me wrong, but the market is changing momentum and now we want higher prices. So after all of this movement, all of this movement that we had, we will need to stay inside or consolidate in a level. Okay, this can happen, that's okay. I'm expecting a reversal, at least to grab liquidity. Why? Because it has to go for one, this liquidity, the consequent encouragement of the opening range, and second, this liquidity here. Okay, so also, since this range was very strong, it is going to act like a magnet, and it will try to take the market again to where it escape. Okay, so it can happen. I would expect that. I would like it to happen, but let's just wait. We just took a trade already. That was a great trade, so that's fine. Okay, so you see how we sweep on this liquidity, and now we keep failing. Like, we don't want to go lower, but we need to go lower. So yeah, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, look what happens again, reversing inside the range. Okay, so today is a very quiet day, quiet in the sense that we already made the big movement. We can still have a reversal, or we can just play games here. I'm still expecting the market to continue going higher, but we will need to wait. Okay, we break all of these levels in the 4 hour. You see how we break it and how we break this level as well, but we are failing to continue going higher. I'm going to mark this level because I don't have it. So Okay, so these green dots that I have in here, I'm gonna put another, yeah, these yellow dots that I have is the liquidity that we swept. So look how we just went barely above it. And if we really want to go higher, since that's a liquidity from a 4-hour chart, we will need to at least do a 50 points movement, right? So we made a 20 point movement. It is not enough for me to declare that this is a break to the buy side. Okay, so for me, we still have room to go higher, but what I'm expecting is a reversal. So we already took a trade. We had a very nice profit day. So look, this is the balance that we have. So that's fine. Okay, it's a very quiet day, as I said, guys. That's fine. Yeah. So let's see if we got 2 viewers. No, we didn't, but that's fine, guys. Someday, trust me, someday here I'm going to have 1,000 viewers. Okay, someday, guys. So anyways, guys, look how we created this opening of this candle. This can mean that we can continue going higher. So I don't want to enter now. I don't want to do nothing, because this is just the makeup time. Okay, this is the play time. This is where the market is resting after all the run that it made. So you can take it in 2 ways. One, this is where the market stopped to rest, to drink some water and say, let's keep running. It means that it will continue going higher. Or it can just say, okay, this is the end of my run, I'm going back home. Which for me, it shouldn't be happening. It should be the first option, where we say, okay, let's continue running from here. I just rested. I have to clean my chart because, you know, it's a little bit mess. But you know, so we are just inside this big space here that we had. We just broke this void that we had in here. That's the key level that I have marked, is that one. You see this green these pink lines, that's what I had marked in there. So we just broke it. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, we should be coming down here, but we can just leave it for the day and for the week, and we can be coming back to this at least in a week. So for the next week, we are going to be moving and creating things from this level. So here we will need to make an expansion. If we want to make a higher movements, we will need to make an expansion to the buy side, and this is going to be the new level for the next week. And from this level, we are going to be having all the movements for the next, at least for me, the next 2 weeks. Why? Because this is where the market said, okay, I'm going to rest. And here we need to wait to see what the market does. If it wants to go higher or it wants to go home. Okay. So basically we haven't done any significant movement to the buy side. So you guys would say, okay, we moved 600 points to the buy side. But for me, the real movement and what it really moved was from this red square that you see here. We have moved only 300 points from my perspective. Okay, So that's why I say we still will need to run higher, because we still have room to go. Imagine the 700 points that we moved, the 600 points, half of those points you were taken there in a car. So you haven't made your training. You still have to run. Yes, you moved a long distance, but you went in a car. So you still have a long distance to go by yourself. That's how I see the market, okay? So we are getting close to the time 11 a.m. and 11:15, okay? So these are key hours, guys. Just wait. Let's see how it reacts. You see how we keep respecting this range. We keep being inside that range. This can be considered as part of the range, okay? And we can say, okay, this is a fair value, okay? This is a fair value gap, and we are going to respect this fair value, okay? We are going to respect it. Why? Because that fair value gap is inside this range. For me, this fair value gap is like noise, nothing to care about. But the important thing is we're respecting this range. First stage of accumulation. So let me just write it here. So we should be respecting this range, okay? We should be going back up here. Why? Because we have only gone there one time. That's not enough. We need to leave at least two tops, two highs, right? Just like we did here, we left two lows. This is a low and this is the other low. Ignore the wick. This is a low, okay? So we just left that there and we haven't come back here. So we will need to go back up there because the market, you know. So here I can be taking a trade and I'm going to wait, okay? I'm going to wait. Why? Because the market still has like kinda some expectation to go higher, okay? So I'm going to be really sticky with this, okay? So look how we just immediately moved all of that, okay? So I'm moving my stop loss. We got it stopped out. We got it stopped out. $50 in profit, that's fine. But you see how we reverse again because the market is playing games. So we haven't gotten to the key hour. You see how it just moved 50 ticks in less than 1 second? 10 points. With 10 points that were $200, guys, okay? And that will continue going higher. Why don't I stay in the trade? Because I already made my profit for the day before starting the streaming, okay? So I'm making some entries so you guys can see. Look how we just created a fair value gap in here and we bounce, okay? Just look at that, guys. So you see, so look 20 points in there, and we will go up here just to create the second top, okay? It can happen, it cannot happen. For me, it is going to happen because this is the range the market is going to respect. But if it doesn't happen, we will revisit these balances, okay? So let's wait. We already made the profit of the day, guys, so we don't have to worry. These are great 50 points for some people. That's fantastic. You could have your entry here. We can come back and touch this or not, who knows. But anyways, let's see how the market keeps reacting. That's going to be for today, guys. Yeah, I mean, I still expect the market to continue going higher. I've really been really honest. I don't want to see the market going that high today. Why? I don't know. I think it's very early to go. Even though we already played games last week, the whole fucking week, we made nasty move. I don't think it's the time for the market to go. I think it's going to be playing around this 50 points range the whole day. We can maybe reverse here and make it 100 points range to play for the rest of the day. Okay, next week on Monday, we will need to see what is going to happen, if we displace or not. So I expect this consolidation to take at least some time, at least 1 or 2 days more, at least one more. That's why I don't want to see the market going higher yet. Maybe yes, retouching this balance, this range here, sorry, but not higher than that or lower than that, because if we go that low, yes, like it is a retracement. For markets like this, that's a retracement. To go to the opening range, that's a retracement, okay? But also, since the environment of the market, it can just take us to lower prices and not going for higher prices. And what I'm expecting is all-time highs again, okay? So for all-time highs, we can be coming back to that liquidity again, at least not today. Okay, so I'm expecting it to go at least on Tuesday or Thursday of next week. Having this is easy look, midpoint of this to where we are, it's 150 points. That's nothing for a drop, nothing for a drop. You see how we can drop 400 points, 500 points in one fucking blink. Okay, so that's why I tell you guys, this is the real range where we decided to go. You see how we retouched the fair value gap, and now we're reversing to the buy side again. Okay, so we want to go for this liquidity. We already made the mess here. We already respected this range. We look, I'm not inventing things. I'm not making the things up. Look, yes, we broke to it, but look where we closed. Just inside this range. You see that? Just inside the range. Just inside. Okay? We keep respecting. Yes, we went lower. Look. 20 points candle. We stopped. Just inside. Just inside. Let me put this a little bit more strong. Just inside. Inside. We pierced through it and we went back inside. So trust me, guys, when I tell you, this is how the market works. Okay, this is how the market moves. This is the first stage of accumulation, thanks to ICT. Not many people can see this. Not many people can say, okay, in a 1 minute chart, we are just creating a first stage of accumulation, because usually you're used to look at this, so you see this after this big movement, and this is another stage of accumulation to the buy side. Look how first stage of accumulation, a second small stage of accumulation, and we continue going higher. But in a big scale, this is our first stage of accumulation. We can have the first stage, and then we have the movement higher. Okay, so this is going to take, for me, the rest of the day. we can be playing in a 100 points range. That's okay for the market. That's where the market usually moves. Okay, so we can after this we can maybe make 20 points more above this range and 20 points lower above below this range, and that's going to be 100. You see, and the market will move inside of that. So right now we're inside this fair value gap in here to the downside. We will need to see if the market wants to break through it or not. So yeah, I mean, let's just wait. Okay guys, anyways, I already made the profit for the day. I'm going to just leave it like that. Be careful if you want to continue trading for the rest of the day. Remember, we still have liquidity here and we have liquidity down here, guys. Don't get surprised if we get back to it. I'm telling you, don't get surprised, because this liquidity needs to be taken, and also this range needs to be taken. So don't get surprised if that happens. As I said, I would like to see it being taken next week, not today. But if it happens today, we will need to rethink what is going to happen next week, because I think we will reverse. If we come back to this and we failed to come back here, we will need to rethink what is going to happen next week. Okay, so yeah. So you remember what I said about the failed displacement or the fake movements to either of the two sides during a consolidation? Look at this. Look at this break through this range to the downside. You see? You see how we break through it, but we fail to go lower? So I would like it to stay that way, not going lower than this gap here. Okay, this fair value gap here. Now we created another fair value gap to the downside. I would like to see a sweep and reversal. If we close below, we will probably start the run lower, which I was expecting. But I really, even though I'm expecting that retracement, I really don't want it to happen. I really don't want it to happen. Okay, you see how we reverse? So this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't happen. Usually when we have a fair value gap inside a range and we look at the market trying to sweep or trying to make it an inversion fair value gap, you would like to see this, like the second candle that gets close to that fair value gap needs to close above it. In what sense? Not like respecting it, because it created a fair value gap here, so you will say, okay, I have a fair value gap here and another fair value gap here. Which one is going to respect the market? Right? And since you see that you have a big displacement that could get into your parameters, and you would say like, okay, so this one is going to be the one because whatever. Well, what is going to give you the confirmation that this one is going to be respected right, is the second candle after the previous candle that gets close to the fair value gap you are expecting to happen. This candle can close inside it. That could be called trouble for you, okay? But the second one is going to tell you if the market wants to respect it or not. So you see how it respected the fair value gap and it moved 15 points away from it. But since the market is playing games, it said, you know what, I don't give a fuck about your fair value gap, but it will be recovered because these are patterns that algorithmically the market has to respect. Okay, so it will need to get back to it and respect it after this movement. So, you know, anyways, yeah, let's wait to see what happens. So we will need to wait for the candle to close. You see, just as I said, that the system, the computer that runs this shit needs to respect these kind of things because it is algorithmic. Okay, this is not buying or selling pressure. Okay, this is algorithmic, and as I said, when you have the second candle previous to the one that gets close to the fair value gap, that will give you a notion if it wants to be respected or not. So now, what does this candle means? What does it mean for the market? That we really wanted to make that reversal that I'm talking to you about, because that's algorithmic as well. If you check and you make your back testing, you're going to see how we every time we don't take the liquidity from 7:45 a.m. in a 50-minute chart like this. Check how many times we go back to that liquidity, and that's going to tell you 100% of the times, 99%. Okay, so just because here we stopped, just in the same level, and we left that liquidity there. Also, we left the gap. Also, we left liquidity at 9:30 a.m. So those are very many aspects that you have to take into account when doing this. Okay, and yes, it will happen, and I expect it happens next week. If it happens today, that's great. I'm going to be taking the trade because I know we will get there. But if not, if we respect this first stage of accumulation for the rest of the day, I'm going to be happy for that. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I'm tired. I already made the profit of the day, so I'm going to call it a day, but I'm going to try to take another trade, the last one, so you guys can see how this works. As I said, I was expecting the market to come higher. It's already 11:15. This is where the market decides where to go. Okay, look, if you see the key hours, 11 a.m. was a buying candle, and 11:15 could be another buying candle. So I really expected the market to come back to this liquidity, but it didn't happen. So I'm going to go easy on this. I'm going to go just 1 micro. I'm going to wait for it to give me, okay, I'm taking it now, and I'm going to put my stop loss here. Okay, so it's going to be a 10 points and a tick of a stop loss. Why? Because it is moving too much. Okay, so I'm going to be having these position so you guys can see. I think this was a very nice position to enter to the buy side. As you see, guys, it's a micro, so it won't affect me too much. I'm going to leave it like this so you guys can see what happens. Okay, so anyways, if we get stopped here, that's fine. We already made our profit. If we don't, that's great as well. So let's chill. Why did I take the trade to the buy side and not to the sell side? Just because of these last movements here. Okay, so for me, that's a confirmation that we want to adapt the market to go to higher positions. Okay, so also we are in a high trend to the buy side, so you know, like, you can just expect many things today. So right now it's hesitating too much to go higher. That's okay. I wouldn't like the market to come down here, because that would mean it can continue going lower. So that's why I decided to go from here to the buy side. Okay, because this was a very, very nice position for us to break these levels in here, at least these levels. Since the market is moving too fast, we can just break it and go higher. Okay, so anyways, let's see how it reacts. Once we break this level, I'm going to move my stop loss to break even, so we don't rush it, and that's it. Okay, you see how we keep rejecting and rejecting? That's because we have work to do in the downside, and when the algo looks at that, it says, hey bro, we need to go lower, but the bigger brother is saying, yeah bro, we need to go lower, but let's go up here first, you know. So that way it keeps getting magneted to the downside, just like it's doing here, but it needs to stay inside this stage. Okay, so this is pretty convenient that it goes lower when I'm saying that, but you know, anyways, so let's just wait. Once we cross this consequent encouragement, I'm going to be moving my stop loss to break even, because this is just a demonstration. Nobody's seeing this, but when you look at this someday, when you recognize my name and you say, oh, Karma Trader, so you're going to see this and you're going to say, wow, this guy knows a lot. And maybe these kind of videos are going to have some hidden words, hidden secrets in my words that some of you will realize. And just as I did with ICT, my mentor, you will do with me. I'm very sure of that. So here we are taking our time. I didn't want to see that. That's why I wanted to move my stop loss. I'm going to move it to this small void that we had in here. So I just move it there because I see how the market is taking some time and it's making bigger movements to the downside. And since we are magneted to the downside because we have work to do there, that's what I expect to happen. But I don't want that to happen, because in a general view, it would mess the delivery of the market. Okay, so that's why I expect the market to just go higher, because algorithmically it has to respect this first stage of accumulation. Okay, so look, we continue desperately trying to go lower, but we're going to hold this. That's okay. Look how fast movements to the buy side. I want to see it break this level, the consequent encouragement of the range to move my stop loss to break even. Okay, this is a real account, guys, that's why I'm being careful with it. Okay, so we just break it, so I'm going to move it. Okay, I'm going to move it here to that candle. Why? Because we shouldn't be reversing. We shouldn't be reversing, we should be going higher from this point. Okay, that's why I decided to move it. Okay, well, that's okay. I don't think now we will go higher, not yet. If we do, that's fine. But let's see, I'm just going to stay here quiet. I'm going to mute myself, and as I said, since we failed to go higher in this movement, we probably won't go higher. That's why I didn't held my trade for too long. Okay, so it was a great day, guys. This was Karma Trader, and yeah, I mean, see you next week. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoy when you see this replay someday. Okay.